Joining us now to provide an update on the ongoing National Political Summit being convened by the Patriots is Professor Maxwell Gidado. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria and he's the chairman, Northeast Group of the National Political Summit. He's also a professor of law at the Nasarawa State University in Kefi. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Where do we start this conversation? I mean, first, let's even clarify on the objections that were raised. What exactly were the sticking points before we get into the conversation?
Yes, it was one of the major sticking points at this all-important summit by the Patriots, which took 2 days. We ended up today. Is one, the Patriots are very, very firm on the fact that the 1999 Constitution is deeply flawed. In other words, it is not all-inclusive and it doesn't have that appellation of a people's constitution.
Right.
In other words, now when you talk of a people's constitution, it has to be a constitution that Nigerians had an input, in it. Nigerians were consulted. Nigerians from all nooks and crannies came and identified with every clause, every paragraph of this constitution. But that is not the case. This constitution was gifted to us by the military. The military handpicked just 24 wise men and 1 wise woman. That was the Abdul Salam Constitution. They sat down and they tried to adopt either of the 1979 Constitution. That's even the 1979 Constitution is an Obasanjo Constitution. The 1989 Moribund Constitution was a Babangida Constitution. And the 1995 Constitution can be described as an Abacha Constitution. All the two aborted because they never saw the light of the day. Then the 1999 Constitution. These 25 wise men and women sat down and now said they preferred, they went around a semblance of consulting people in the Nigerians, but you ought to have, after getting their views, to take it to a referendum. Let there be a referendum where at least a sizable number, a reasonable number of Nigerians will speak on this constitution and say, yes, we agree that we should operate a presidential system of government. We agree that there should be this sort of the system of government, fiscal federalism, whether there's fiscal federalism or not. But this never came to be. They just, rammed it on the
Yes, but there are those who would
Nigerians.
argue that, yes, when you say it was the Babangida Constitution, Abacha Constitution, Abdul Salam Abubakar Constitution, these are all Nigerians, and the 20 or so wise persons, both men and women, are also Nigerians. That you cannot totally say that that these people are not, they're not aliens, that they're actually Nigerian, but that's a different argument, for another day. Let's talk about the outcome of your 2-day summit and the key outcomes. How do you plan, number one, the strategies that you will be employing to ensure that the resolutions are actually formally, submitted to the National Assembly's Constitution Review Committee?
Yes, there are 2 ways. At the end of the day, our resolutions haven't been read out. It will be formally presented to the media tomorrow.
Right.
Now, when that is done, the leadership, our able leader, namely Chief Emeka Anyanku,
Yes.
GCON, the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, he will lead some of our elders and take the resolution to Mr. President. When he takes it to Mr. President, secondly, they will also submit same to the ongoing constitutional review exercise going on now at both the Senate, that's the 10th Assembly, at both the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, the appeal to be made to Mr. President is for him to bring up an executive bill incorporating all these 23 resolutions, where we came up with 23 resolutions.
Of them.
Yes,
Right.
23 of them. All very, very, very sizable and reasonable, and all leading to our having an inclusive, all-inclusive constitution that can get that toga as a people's constitution. So Mr. President will be asked to sponsor an executive bill which he will now submit to the National Assembly to enable the National Assembly to set up a constituent assembly that will come and incorporate all these 20. And as a matter of fact, they will look at the good sides of the 1960 Constitution, the 1963 Constitution, and then the good sides or the good parts of the 1999 Constitution, as well as the 2014 National Confab recommendations. All this will be the subject of this very Constituent Assembly, looking at it and now coming up with issues that we have itemized in these 23 resolutions.
So we're not reinventing the wheel. You're taking the good sides from the previous constitutions that we've had.
Very well.
But how do you guarantee that the same fate, that the 2014 confab suffered will not befall, this beautiful, projects that you've come up with, 23 recommendations? I think I have about 10 here that maybe I can just itemize. But how do you ensure that it doesn't go the same way as the 2014 confab?
Yes, you see, the problem with the 2014 confab is that it never saw the light of the day. And it wasn't subjected to a National Assembly for it to use it as a basis of a constitutional amendment that at the end of the day will now sort of take care of this lacuna, the legal gaps in the Constitution. So the difference with this is that the patriots believe very strongly too that if Mr. President is giving these resolutions and they believe they'll be able to convince him to know that Nigerians, because we widely consulted. It wasn't just the number that you saw here at Transcorp and Luxury and Nikon Luxury. Before we came, for instance, I am the chairman of the Northeast Consultative Forum, and we consulted widely. We had town hall meetings in the various states before we came and had a general one of the Northeast in Bauchi, and we crystallized our own position as far as the request of the Northeast zone were concerned. And that was what I presented at the summit. So this was done, and it will be transparently shown to the president that Nigerians are feeling very strongly about this 1999 Constitution and want you to make a change so that
this
we can move
Constituent
forward.
Assembly, very quickly.
Yes.
I mean, is it going to exist pari passu with the National Assembly? Do you envisage that this National Assembly will actually give its nod to a Constituent Assembly? Because wouldn't it amount to rendering the National Assembly redundant?
No, it wouldn't.
Okay.
They'll be working pari passu. In other words, they are the sovereignty at present rests with the National Assembly. Because there can't be two sovereigns. So they will just be a Constituent Assembly purposely constituted for the purpose of bringing about a recommendation, recommendations that will go into a new constitution that at the end of the day will be submitted to the National Assembly.
A point well taken. Very quickly, for the benefit of this, of our viewers too, some of your recommendations: President should introduce executive bill to empower INEC to conduct elections into Constituent Assembly. Recommends to return to true federalism. We've been talking about that, forever. System of government closely examine and determine the best system of government. So in this summit, you were not able to come up with or make a recommendation as to what the best form of government, for Nigeria should be. You talk about devolution of powers. Two-chamber bicameral system of legislation is unsustainable, too expensive for Nigeria. Therefore, you're recommending a unicameral, National Assembly.
Yes.
I mean, great recommendations there. We're looking forward to the unveiling of the 23 recommendations. But before I let you go, you were a very close ally of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
Right. And, he has moved from the PDP to the ADC. I'm sure you didn't expect this.
Because
but
this was
first
not
off,
what
do you
called
think?
me here.
Of course, absolutely.
Yes.
But we need to take advantage of this. What do you think is Atiku's political future, with this idea that he's likely to run again in 2027, and many Nigerians, or some, let's just say some, to be fair, are saying power should still, remain in the southern part of the country until 2031. What do you have to say about that?
Ngozi, I must tell you,
Right.
you are taking me, off guard, because I was expected to come and talk as
About
a
this
patriot.
as a patriot,
Exactly.
yes. Right.
But it all the same. Let me just give you this answer. You see, when you talk of power being concentrated or being left to be in the South for 4 years or 8 years or 20 years, you see, in democracy, that is not how it works. So if we keep, or power is being, shifted to the North for 8 years, and people are suffering, the first 4 years, you find it very difficult to even breathe. You see people, crying, dying, suffering, and the country is almost gone into a halt.
So you think
It's
the
been
idea of
drifting
rotational
from a failing
presidency
state, exactly, to a
is
failed state.
counterproductive?
Nigerians should just vote for whoever they think can get us out of the woods. If you see, like I give you an example with Rwanda. Today, Paul Kagame,
Yes.
as far as Rwandans are concerned, they will allow him to rule until this man drops dead. And it's because they've hit the target. They've gotten someone who has brought them out of the woods. And they are now a country that many nations are even aspiring. I never thought of going on vacation to Rwanda.
Right.
But do you know, if you give me a free ticket to UK and Rwanda, I'll go to Rwanda.
Go to Rwanda, yeah.
Exactly.
Because they've been
so
able to
if
come out
Nigerians get a leader
Right.
that can get us right, you bring down the value of, the falling the rate of Naira. Bag of rice goes back to 10,000. Everything that we used to enjoy before 2014, 2023 comes back on
This
the screen.
idea, is it,
We'll just tell it to continue.
does it feature in this new constitution that you talk about?
Yes,
That we should
yes.
be talking about
We're not talking about any rotational
presidency?
There's no rotational
Right.
presidency here at all.
Okay.
Once we get a good leader, we march on.
A good leader is what we need. Professor
Exactly.
Maxwell Gidado, Senior
Thank you.
Advocate of Nigeria, Chairman, Northeast Group National Political Summit. He's a professor of law at the Nasarawa State University in Kefi. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight.
My pleasure.